Hello Year 11, it's Mrs. Tibbles here, and today I want to talk to you about your post-16 options. So essentially, what options are available to you at the end of Year 11 in terms of studying and further education. Now, normally we would be doing this face-to-face and we would give your parents the opportunity to come in and ask questions as well, but unfortunately we're not able to do that this year. So I'm hoping that this presentation will give you all the details you need and hopefully provide you enough access to be able to make some really good decisions. The most important thing I think I want you to take away from this is that there is an option out there for everybody. So it doesn't matter who you are, what you're interested in, or what grades you're going to achieve. There is something out there for everybody. And what's really important is that you make the best choice for you in your circumstance. And of course, you need to bear in mind that everybody needs to stay in some form of education or training now until they're 18. So you're not allowed to leave school at the end of GCSEs and just go off into employment without training alongside it. So first of all, let's look at what the options are. The majority of our students choose to study in a sixth form for post-16. So for most students, that will be Folkestone Academy sixth form, but of course you are free to apply to other sixth forms in the area as well. So all of the sixth forms in the area offer level 3 qualifications. So that's a step up from GCSEs, and they'll either be A-levels or level 3 BTECs, or some kind of equivalent applied qualification. And in general, to study in sixth form, you need a minimum of a grade 4 in English and maths, but also some subjects may require a 5 or a 6 in those particular areas. So for example, if you wanted to study A-level maths, you may well need a grade 6 at GCSE in order to be able to take that subject. Now, each sixth form has its own criteria, but those are normally the baseline, certainly the grade 4 in maths and English. So it's really important if you want to stay for sixth form that you are working towards those grades. And that's just to make sure that you can access the studying at a level 3, because it is quite a big jump from GCSE. Depending upon what your thoughts are after post-16, so for example, if you want to go on to university, depending upon which university you might be looking at, you may want to consider more academic A-levels if you're going for a traditional Russell Group university perhaps, but other universities are also really open to taking level 3 BTECs, and they can carry just as many points as an A-level does as well. But you can find out more information about the different courses, about the different entry criteria by attending open evenings, which I will come on to later. But it's really important to be aware that for sixth form study, whether it be here or another sixth form at another school, that you do get the minimum of a grade 4 in maths and English. So in addition to sixth forms, we're very fortunate in the sense that we have quite a wide selection of colleges in the local area. So we have Folkestone College, Canterbury, Ashford, Dover, and they're all open to taking students. They specialise in different subjects, and what they're really good at is offering vocational qualifications. So in general, lots of courses that aren't on offer in normal sixth forms in schools. So for example, motor vehicle or hairdressing, carpentry, those kind of subjects, beauty, are on offer at the different colleges. So if you're interested in taking a vocational or a technical route, the college might be a good option for you to consider. They also offer BTECs, but they don't offer A-levels. So if you want to study a traditional A-level, so maths, English, science, geography, history, you would be looking at a sixth form to study there. And because colleges offer different levels of courses, you can get in with different grades at GCSE. So if you wanted to study at level 3, you'd still be looking at the minimum of grade 4s in maths and English. But the colleges do offer particularly the vocational options at lower levels, so a level 1 or a level 2. But obviously we would want to be stretching you as much as we can and to get you on the highest level course possible. The main difference between sixth form and college, other than the fact that the college offers more vocational options, whereas sixth forms tend to offer more academic options, is that in the sixth form you will need to study 3 subjects, or the equivalent of 3. So, for example, you may have a double sport BTEC, which would count as 2, and then 1 other subject. But in general, you need to have the equivalent of 3 A-levels or 3 BTECs, or a mixture of those. When you go to college, you will only study 1 subject. So that's really good if you know what it is that you want to study and that's all that you're interested in. So, for example, you wanted to go and do a construction course, you would do that full time, and that would be the only subject that you would study. At sixth form, you will study different subjects. Of course, that's really positive, actually, if you're not 100% certain on what it is you want to do in the future, or if there's several subjects that you really enjoy, you can do that at sixth form, but you cannot do it at college. You also can't study in sixth form and college, so you have to commit to one or the other. You can't move between the two. And of course, it's always worth reminding you that if you don't get the grade 4 in maths or English, regardless of whether you study in sixth form or college in the future, you will need to resit those subjects. That's a legal requirement. Another option that you may want to consider is apprenticeships. Now, lots of people say to me in Year 11 that they want to study an apprenticeship or they want to take an apprenticeship. And apprenticeships are a really good option, but you do need to be aware that they're not necessarily as easy to find as some people may think. And they are in high demand as well. And they're employer-led, not course-led. So whereas as a sixth form we can say we've got 10, 15 different courses available and you can apply for one of those courses. With an apprenticeship, you will need to apply directly to an employer for a job, essentially. And many of the apprenticeships these days do also require a minimum of a grade 4 in maths and English. But I will talk more about apprenticeships later on. And then finally, we do have a couple of training providers locally, and these tend to focus on what we call employability courses, so courses that prepare you to go out to work. So, for example, if you really wanted to do an apprenticeship but you weren't successful in securing one, you could start on an employability program, and that would help you develop the skills and experience that you need in order to get an apprenticeship further down the line. And those courses don't have any specific entry criteria. So Folkestone Academy sixth form, we're really lucky that we have a sixth form on site, that we have Mrs. Turner heading up the ship on that side, and she's very passionate and very enthusiastic about taking on Year 11s to join our sixth form, and there is lots of support available for students that do move into the sixth form. And one of the other good things about staying with us is that at least you will know all of the staff, and it's much less daunting than having to move off to another school or a college. So we are holding a virtual open evening on Tuesday the 24th of November from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And this would normally be done face-to-face again, and you would be able to come in with your parents and talk to all the different subject teachers and find out about the courses that are on offer in the sixth form. But unfortunately, we're not able to offer that this year. So we're doing our best to put on a live event on the 24th of November, which will give you a similar experience and most importantly, give you the opportunity to find out about those different courses, because we do have some subjects that are on offer in the sixth form that you won't have had the opportunity to study at GCSE. And so it's really important that you keep an open mind until you have attended that event and seen what the opportunities are before making your choices for post-16. So more information about that will be sent out to you shortly, and you'll get all the details about how to log on, and there'll be live Q&A sessions so you can ask all the questions that you would have normally asked face to face. From that evening, we will also have the prospectus available online, which will give an overview of all the courses and also some extra information about what life is like in the sixth form. And we'll be putting our recordings from the open evening onto the website as well, so that you can access them and kind of go back and just look at different areas that perhaps you didn't get to see on the evening. And there will also be some more information from some of our actual sixth formers as well. So that's really important to hear from students that are already studying here and find out about their experience. We will then be going back to good old-fashioned paper applications. So if you want to apply for sixth form, we're going to make that process really easy for you this year. And during tutor time on the 25th, so the day after open evening, we will be giving out paper applications, and it's really simple. You can just tick the subjects that you want to study. So you can either do it straight away if you're really confident in what it is you want to apply for, or you can take those forms home and have a conversation with your parents before making a decision. But that process is going to be really quick and simple for you, because obviously we already hold lots of information about you in school. And most importantly, I would have talked to you about this back in year 9 when you picked your GCSE options. It's about making good choices for you as an individual, making informed choices. And the only way that you can make an informed choice is by gathering as much information as possible. So I would really recommend attending the virtual open evening, talking to subject staff or talking to Mrs. Turner to find out as much information as possible. They are the experts. They know what their courses are like. And actually, if they've taught you for several years, they will know you as well. And they'll be able to give really good advice about what options might suit you and whether you will enjoy the subject if you choose to study it at a higher level. So do make the most of having those people to hand and get as much information as possible before you make those choices. So whilst at the Academy we are making the application process really easy this year in terms of having paper forms, you will also receive shortly login details for a website called Kent Choices. And this comes from Kent County Council, or the education people, they are also known as. And this is essentially an online prospectus for all the sixth forms and colleges in Kent. So you can use that website and have a look at the courses that are on offer at college. You can have a look at the courses that are on offer at different sixth forms. And our information will also be on there as well. So it's a great website if you want to look at alternative institutions. If you would like to apply to another institution, for example, another school, you can also complete the application via Kent Choices, and those login details that you receive are to enable you to do that. So you can log in, there's quite a lot of information that you have to put on there, but you can log in and submit multiple applications to different institutions via the Kent Choices website. And I'm also going to share with you a learner's guide on how to use that website, because like I said, there's quite a bit of information there. So I will send out step-by-step instructions on how you can do that. But as I said, if you want to apply for sixth form, you can do that via a paper application, which only requires you to choose the subjects that you want to study. But do take a look at the Kent Choices website as well, because there's lots of helpful advice and guidance on there. So what are the timescales? This always scares year 11s when we look at this, because it comes around much faster than they expect. So right now in November, you are going to receive application forms for Folkestone Academy sixth form and attend the virtual open evenings and gather as much information as possible about the choices that are available to you. We're not here as a school. My role isn't to force you to come to Folkestone Academy sixth form, although I would strongly encourage everyone to consider it. But it's really important that you do make the right choice for you. So you do need to look at other institutions. So that all needs to happen in November. Between November and January, you'll need to complete your applications. So whether that be the paper form for Folkestone Academy, hopefully you could get that done very early in this process if that's what you want to do, or whether you're going to use Kent Choices to apply for a college or one of the other sixth forms. So that's going to happen in the next couple of months, because from January, pupils will start to be interviewed for courses. And it's really important that you get those applications in because popular courses do fill up quickly. So the sooner you get your application in, the sooner you'll be interviewed and the more chance there is of you securing a place on those popular courses. So it's really important that we do that early. And remember that everyone will be interviewed for the course they apply for. So it doesn't matter whether you apply for Folkestone Academy sixth form, for Folkestone College, or a sixth form at another school, you will be interviewed. And this year it's probably most likely to be a virtual interview as well, which will be a bit different for you. No student is guaranteed a place anywhere. So studying at post-16 is very different to compulsory education in years 7 to 11, where essentially if there's space in the school and you're here, we have to have you. When it comes to post-16 study, if you don't have the grades for the course that you're applying for, then you won't be offered a place. And that's the same whether it's an application for Folkestone Academy or an application for the college. If you haven't got the grades or aren't suitable, you won't be offered a place on that course. So it's really important that you remember that you're not guaranteed a place anywhere. And it's another reason why you need to get your applications done nice and early so that you can have those conversations with people. And the other really important thing, and I say this to everybody, regardless of the grades they're predicted or their ability, is to have a backup plan, because you never know what is going to happen. So, for example, if you want to apply to Folkestone Academy to study level 3 BTECs, I would also advise you to have an application to either another institution, another school, but generally a college, because normally your backup plan will be a course at a lower level. So if you want to study in sixth form, you're going to be applying for a level 3 course. So really as your backup, you would need to have an application to a college for a level 2 course. Similarly, if you want to apply to one of the local grammar schools to go to their sixth form, they tend to have a much higher entry criteria than other sixth forms. So I would suggest that you have a non-grammar school sixth form as your backup option. And this is really, really important, because I see every year on results day, young people who don't get the grades necessarily that they had hoped for, and they don't get offered a place at their preferred institution and haven't got anything else in place, and it becomes a scramble at the last minute to try and get college applications in. So whereas at the Academy we will always try to offer alternative subject choices, so depending upon what grades you get, if we can still offer you a place but studying different subjects, we will always do that. But if you didn't secure the grades 4s in maths and English, then we might be in a position where, unfortunately, we are unable to offer you a place. So it's really important that you have a backup, because all of your offers will be conditional. So they'll all be on the basis that you achieve the grades that that course requires. So I always recommend that everybody has at least 2 applications submitted. If you're applying to college, for example, to do carpentry, if they have offered you a place on a level 2 course and you don't secure the grades that you need for that course, they would normally then offer you a place on the level 1. as long as there is space. So you would still be able to study the same subject, but would have to start at a lower level. But really, it's peace of mind to have a backup option. So you can do as many applications as you like, you can accept as many offers as you like, and then you don't actually have to make a firm choice as to where you're going to go until you get your grades in August next year. So just to repeat, and I can't say this enough, make an informed choice, make the right choice for you as an individual. It's your future, it's the next 2 years of your life, so it's really important that you're studying something that interests you, but not only the next 2 years of your life, because actually the choices that you make now will influence your career for the rest of your life. So it's so important that you do make the right choices for you. And to do that, you need to get as much information as possible. So you need to attend all the open evenings that are available. You need to visit the websites. Think about what's important to you. So is it important what the dress code is or what the hours are? Think about how you would get somewhere. So if you're thinking you might like to study at Canterbury College, have you thought about how you're going to get to Canterbury College and back every day? And how will you feel if you've got to get the bus and it's winter and it's dark and it's raining? Will you still want to go? And what else is important to you? Are you thinking about university? In which case, is there support available to help you with that process or to prepare you for that? Or if you're thinking that you want to move into employment at 18, is there support to develop the skills and knowledge that you need to do that? Only you know what's important to you, so you've got to be the one to ask those questions. So apprenticeships, as I said, these are a little bit different because you're not applying for a course. Essentially, you are applying for a job. So these aren't listed on the Kent Choices website. They're actually on a national website. And if you Google apprenticeships or find an apprenticeship, the website will come up. Apprenticeships are advertised and recruited for in the same way as a normal job would be. So, for example, the vacancies that are advertised now, employers normally want somebody to be starting within 4 to 6 weeks of recruitment. So it wouldn't be any use applying for an apprenticeship now because they would be looking for somebody to start in December or January. So not all apprenticeships have a September start date. In fact, many of them don't. So whilst you could look at the websites now to see what kind of vacancies are out there, you probably wouldn't be able to apply for anything until spring at the earliest, because they would be looking for somebody to start June, July time. And because of this, it's really important that just with everything else, you have a backup plan. So if you want to look for an apprenticeship, then that's fantastic. But because you're not going to be able to start applying for those opportunities until much later in the school year, and you can't guarantee that you will secure one, I highly recommend having some applications in for school, sixth forms or colleges as well, just as your backup. Because remember, you don't have to take up those opportunities. And if you are successful in being offered an apprenticeship later on in the year, you could always contact the sixth form or the college and say, thank you very much, but I've got an apprenticeship now, so I won't be needing my place. So please remember that apprenticeships are fantastic, and it's a great way to develop skills and knowledge at the same time. But they are quite difficult to come across, and lots of applications for 1 or 2 vacancies. So just bear that in mind. So we've got virtual openings happening. As I said, the Folkestone Academy one is on Tuesday the 24th. So please make sure that you're familiar with that and that you've got all of the details so that you're able to access it. And then the colleges have a number of open events coming up as well. Some of these are live, some of them will just be posted on their website, but you can go onto all of the college websites and register for more information from them if that is what you would like to do. And finally, hopefully most of you have now had a one-to-one careers interview with Mrs. Jarrett, our careers advisor, so I've had a little bit of guidance. If you have more questions or if you would like to see her again, please just drop her an email and she will arrange a time to see you and have a conversation and offer any support that you may need. Make the most of her. We're really lucky that we do have a full-time careers advisor in the school, so please do make the most of her, and really just consider the advice that she gives. Make sure you do your research and actually just be really excited. This is a really exciting time in your life. You get to choose now. You get to make the options about what it is you study and the direction that you take your life in. So make the most of the opportunity. Don't throw it away. But hopefully, I look forward to seeing lots of you back in the sixth form at Folkestone Academy next year as well. Thank you.